Greetings, one and all. This is Rhythmworks, and welcome to my channel on the day after, more or less, the first day of E3. Now, people who know me know that I love E3. I love watching the press conferences as and when they come out live. I don't care what time of the day or night, whether it's 6 o'clock p.m. or 2 o'clock in the a.m., right? I'm watching it live so I can be up to speed, because sometimes, you can get certain games to play where they say, and it's available now, or you can get pre-order details and stuff like that. But anyway, I like to watch the press conferences live as they happen. So we had EA's. What do I think of it? In one word, I was kind of underwhelmed, to be honest with you. I mean, apart from the stuff that we already know, I was pretty much underwhelmed. There wasn't really much to basically write home about. I just found it very sparse. But then again, with certain games like Battlefield 5, it will be more or less spoken at length in Microsoft's press conference, because they're associated with Microsoft in the promotion of Battlefield 5. So it kind of makes business sense as to what they're doing. But I've got to say, man, I was pretty much underwhelmed. I think one of the standout moments for me was a surprising one. It was for the game of Sea of Solitude, an indie game where the lady who basically came out was basically talking about the game, and it related to loneliness and depression. I know it's not really a good subject matter to associate with a game, but there's been many games that's had social commentary content, if you like. There was one talking about that dragon cancer and things like that. And I like games that, that bring a social commentary aspect to the psyche. You know what I'm saying? Not so much I mean, there are some games that will entertain you, but there are some games that will make you think. And there's some games that has a high emotional value and quality to the game. So it's all good where the spectrum of gaming is so wide in that regard. And I found that pretty much interesting. I have to say, the most cringe-worthy part of the whole freaking press conference was when they had the shoutcaster basically commentating over a game that two people was playing on their phones. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all about happy gaming. Like I said, I don't care what console you play, format, genre, what have you, happy gaming. If you're happy doing it, then I'm happy for you. But to kind of hold that game cast in that way, to me personally, it would have been best served on a booth. But who am I? Who the hell am I to basically say anything? But I'm not the only one. There's lots of people that was saying that was kind of cringeworthy, and I agree. I totally agree with that. It's like, we're talking about big games, man. You want to see on a big screen and shit, But hey, that's just my viewpoint. Anthem was talked about at some great length, and now we've got a release date for that, 22nd of February 2019. And I have to say, BioWare was kind of putting digs in Destiny, very sophisticated digs in Destiny, basically saying, well, we are not forcing you to basically play one character throughout the whole game. We're going to give you the opportunity to change into different javelins so you can play as different types of javelins and all that kind of stuff. And they were taking a dig at Destiny, and whether the game is going to be successful, only time will tell. But there's one other thing that kind of ground my gears, was all this talk of, and ladies and gentlemen, there'll be no season passes, there'll be no loot boxes, there'll be none of this. And people's applauding, and I'm thinking, why are you applauding? We shouldn't even have to applaud the fact that, we found out that they were trying to basically not so much extort, but milk money from us, and their backs are against the wall and they are forced not to do it anymore. You know what I mean? You can disguise that statement all you want by saying, hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's no loot boxes and there's no microtransactions. You can disguise all that shit all you want. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, if we never had a problem with it, you'd still be doing that shit and forcing money out of our pockets. It's as simple as that. And that is nothing for me to applaud for. I'm sorry. Bollocks to that. You know what I mean? So, with that in mind, and the dude that came out talking about Star Wars Battlefront, there's nothing you can tell me that's going to make me even want to get into that game. I'm sorry. You know, Star Wars, Disney, you know, it's a good combo to begin with because of the fact that, you know, they're keeping alive the Star Wars franchise, but it's not a good advertisement where I don't care if you're forced to, or it was even an idea that was agreed in principle, whatever principle that was, to bring microtransactions into gaming. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's like microtransactions has been in gaming from time immemorial, but that shit needs to basically stop across the freaking board. I think, you know, developers need to just make games that is the game, nothing but the game. So help me God, the whole game, nothing but the game, you know, and just take some risks, man. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're not making no freaking money. You know, be ambitious in what you're basically doing, you know. But, hey, you know, as long as there are people willing to spend money, even getting fake money in games, there will always be a market. And we only have ourselves to blame in that respect. Another thing they were talking about was streaming and subscription. And I think this was the most telling thing of the whole conference, where EA was basically stating, well, they're going to do like a PlayStation Now model into their whole system where you can basically play all of EA's catalog through Origin and what have you. And that's telling to me because that is somewhat signifying the end of consoles. I mean, it's not going to be the end of consoles for now, but it's going to be the tail end of consoles as we know it. And that's kind of frightening. It's frightening to be put in a position where you do not own your games anymore. And if you want to play any games, you're going to have to play it on the cloud. That is frightening. Because for me, it's like, I just love the experience of having a console you can look at, putting a disc in there. Yes, even basically play the digital game in your console. You know, I just love that experience because there's a sense of ownership to that. You know what I'm saying? You know, when you pick up a game, there's a sense of ownership. But don't get me wrong, it's like, you know, I totally understand the movement of progress, and I'm not blind. I see the whole Netflix phenomenon and how people are basically adapting to that, as well as game developers basically implementing, dare I say, battle fucking royale in their games. Do you know what I mean? So I see where people and companies and organizations are moving, don't get me wrong. However, it's just the shooing of EA letting us know this from this point, when they're advertising games that are of a physical nature. They're kind of throwing it in there to say, okay, well, enjoy this shit now, but you know, you're not gonna have this shit for long because we're gonna own your ass by having games in the cloud that you need to pay for to play. That's not good. It's not good at all. What else was spoken about? That was pretty much it for the EA conference. It was pretty light, I have to say. Pretty light. You know, I got the gist of it so much that I got up and made something to eat. You know what I mean? And usually I'm in front of that screen until it is done. The post-conference chat I usually watch with IGN. But even with IGN, man, it's like, well, you know, yes, and I played Anthem, and we was going, you know, and I went through different different terrains and the terrains and the terrains and the water and the elements and the water and the elements and everything look good. I've heard all that shit before, man. I've heard all that shit before. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, let's just see how it basically works when I get that shit in my hands. You know what I'm saying? You know, Anthem, it's an ambitious project. It's an original IP. You know, you got to give BioWare that. To me, it looks like Mass Effect in a different skin, but hey, I could be wrong. So people, tell me, what did you think of EA's press conference? Did you like it? Did you rate it? Was you hyped? Was you not hyped? What was your high points and your low points? People, please let me know, because I would love to know. So with that, I'm going to bid you guys adieu for now. And as always, you done know the coup. People, whatever the game, media, platform, format, genre, happy gaming. Because that is what it's truly about, ladies and gentlemen. Even if it's two people playing on their mobile phones in an EA press conference at E3, is what it is. So until next time, Magan.